This is wild. An NBA writer revealed a trade proposal that can shift the outlook of this Laker team. It has been well documented that the Lakers need to make a move, and they can really add some defensive talent to help Anthony Davis on that side of the ball. And what it would cost is the Lakers moving on from a long-time player. What's good? I'm Okechi Apakama, and this is Lakers Digest coming at you with another video. And before we get into everything we have for you for today's video, guys, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get those Laker updates. Now, without further ado, let's get into our top story of the day, and that is there is a trade proposal for Marcus Smart. So, like I said before, the Lakers could use a move, and more importantly, a defensive player, because their team, structure-wise, they have a pretty sound offensive team, but their defensive skills, especially with Jared Vanderbilt being out for as long as he has been, they have really suffered on that side of the ball, and it's only Anthony Davis really that has really helped anchoring that Laker defense that is towards the bottom of the NBA. So the Lakers, if they were going to make a move here, it should be for a defensive player. And there was an NBA writer who revealed a trade proposal out there that could be very interesting for this Lakers squad, as the Lakers trade pitch that could land Marcus Smart from Memphis. So Memphis is a team that traded for Marcus Smart not too long ago, but they do have a lot of guards in the rotation, and they could be looking to offload a guy like Marcus Smart, especially if it brings them some things in return. So this was the trade proposal that the NBA writer pulled out there, and he said the Lakers would receive Marcus Smart, as the Grizzlies would receive D'Angelo Russell, Jalen Hood-Schifino, a 2026 first-round pick, a 2030 second-round pick, and a 2031 second-round pick. So there's a lot of things to dive in there, but obviously first and foremost, that would be the Lakers getting a guy like Marcus Smart, who I think could be a game changer, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Because if you could pair him next to a guy like Austin Reaves, where Austin Reaves wouldn't have to guard the other team's best player anymore, and you can give that proposition over to Marcus Smart, who really loves the challenge of taking on the opposing team's best player. So throwing on Marcus Smart onto a guy like that can really free up a guy like Austin Reaves, and it can really help out a guy like Anthony Davis, especially because he's not a guy that can get beat off the dribble as easy as some of the other guys in the league, and he's been also an NBA Defensive Player of the Year player. So he's a guy that knows defense and is probably one of the best defensive guards out there, probably with the exception of Herb Jones. But all what Marcus Smart does and can bring to the table can really add to this Laker team, while the Lakers will be sending out a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who for better or worse has been good for some points of the Laker tenure, but also has struggled some points in his Laker tenure as well, especially when it comes to the playoffs and higher level basketball, because that's where teams really rev things up. And then a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who isn't a super athletic or fast player, can really be gridlocked there, especially in the playoffs. We saw that against Denver in these past couple of seasons. So trading a guy like him to Memphis would make sense, just because got to make the money match as well. And then they would get a shooter and a passer, and then obviously Jalen Hood-Schifino, who the Lakers kind of have given up on, as they didn't give him an extension, and he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, so he'll be another salary pill. And then all those draft picks. So a first round pick for Marcus Smart, I do question that a little bit, because I think you can get away with maybe sending multiple second round picks for a guy like Marcus Smart, but we'll see what the market looks like, because one first round pick and 2 second rounders is an okay proposition, but I would be more comfortable with sending out 4 second round picks if the Lakers can. So that would be a more feasible deal, because you want to save those first round picks for those really, really big name guys, those big name game changers, or even a defensive big, which is another thing that the Lakers could use as well in another trade. So trading for a guy like Marcus Smart, I think for the Los Angeles Lakers could pay dividends. And that gets me to my next point here, and that is, what could Smart bring to this team? So we already have seen a guy like D'Angelo Russell and what he can do, especially in the playoffs in these high level situations. And we know that once we get to a certain point, things kind of taper off for a guy like D'Angelo Russell, albeit I do appreciate his playmaking and the way he can set up guys and make them get a lot of easy shots. So Marcus Smart, the one thing I would question about him is his playmaking ability. Let's take a look at his stats just for the season here. And they're not going to be wow you or be too impressive, as he's averaging just about under 10 points per game at 9.6, got about 2.5 rebounds per game and 4.1 assists per game, but he's averaging 1.5 steals per game, shooting about 36% from the field and 32% from three, which he can definitely do better on, but obviously depending on that Memphis Grizzly offense, which is a little bit different to the Lakers offense, where I do think he can see a lot more open shots, especially when you're next to guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are going to receive so much attention. And say if it is traded over here and he is in that starting lineup with guys like Reaves and Dalton Connect, those are two other shooters that people would have to pay attention to. So Marcus Smart is going to get a lot of wide open shots, and giving NBA players wide open shots, they're eventually going to knock those down. But the real key for me is that defensive talent, that defensive ability. He can really guard 1 through 4 pretty much, and he's a guy that can be very switchable, can be a guy that can just stay on one defender. So say if we're playing a team like say the Oklahoma City Thunder, yes, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can really torch a lot of guys, but Marcus Smart is a person that can really guard him 94 feet and guard him for the entire game. So having that ability to have a guy that you can just put on the other team's best player can really help the Lakers defense. And it can help a guy like Anthony Davis out because he doesn't have to worry too much about covering for guys or switching out in last second to really help these guards. And then Marcus Smart is also another guy who really fights for rebounds as well. He's a guy that knows how to box out, one of the few guys in the league that actually does box out. So when push comes to shove, he's also a guy that can really help on that front as well. And then he's just also a dog, a defensive leader. He's a guy that's really going to talk and communicate. So he's going to be a guy that not only he can do things for the Los Angeles Lakers, for just being a really good defender and being a guy that can defend multiple positions, but also be a guy that can be a very good and effective communicator on that side of the ball, which can help the Los Angeles Lakers because you have a guy like Anthony Davis on the back line speaking out, and then also LeBron when he's engaged, you can have him as well being a guy to help out on the defensive side of the basketball. But also that writer was talking about just what Smart can bring. So the Lakers are reportedly looking at Marcus Smart as a potential defensive upgrade. Honestly, it makes a ton of sense. Wrote Levy, as Smart has always been the kind that brings up leadership, defensive intensity, which Lakers could use in buckets right now. This season, he's averaging 9.8 points per game, 4.3 assists, and 1.5 steals, while being the guy who locks down the opposing team's best guard every night. And that is the key right there. He is going to pick up the best challenge every single night because he relishes that opportunity. And he is a guy that has really made his name on that side of the ball from his Boston days and then even over to his Memphis Grizzly days, as he hasn't been as healthy for the Grizzlies and hasn't played too much for them, but he's still a guy that is a dog on the defensive side of the ball, and he does play that point guard position, so he can help out a little bit there, but I do worry in that aspect, just in the passing sense of things. I think he can get his shooting a bit in order if he's getting better shots, but when it comes to facilitating and like setting guys up, that's where I have more questions for a guy like Marcus Smart, because he's usually around other playmaking guards, and in this case, it probably would be a guy like Austin Reaves. So let's see if that even helps unlock a guy like Austin Reaves as well, because Austin Reaves wouldn't have to worry too much about guarding that other team's best player. So if they're going up against a team like Phoenix, even where you got to worry about Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, so maybe you can put a guy like Austin Reaves on a Tyus Jones, and then you can really deploy a guy like Marcus Smart on either a Beal or Booker, probably a Booker, but just so many things that you can do with Marcus Smart, and that's just the reason why I think the Lakers should go for getting a guy like Marcus Smart, because he can bring so much defensive versatility, and if there can be an added bonus if you can get a guy like Jared Vanderbilt back in a timely fashion, and if you have now Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt, and Anthony Davis all in your starting lineup, and that will finally shore up that Laker defense that has been struggling, been one of the bottom teams there in the whole NBA. So trading for Marcus Smart can really change the landscape of this Laker squad. But that's probably going to be it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe and comment down below. What do you think of a guy like Marcus Smart? What do you think he can add to this Laker team? Do you think the Lakers and Rob Pelinka should go for this type of deal? Or do you think there should be somebody else out there? Or should the Lakers be more focusing on getting that defensive big? Let us know in the comments down below. And just one more thing for us, guys. There is about 83% of you guys who have recently watched your videos who are not subscribed to the channel just yet. And if you guys want more of that Laker news, Laker updates, game recaps, just every and all things LA Lakers, you guys want to come right here to Lakers Digest so you don't miss any of that action. All right, guys, I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.